Hi, everybody. Welcome back into another episode of Degenerate Dillon podcast. We are with special guest Colt Schroeder of Built in Buffalo. How you doing, Colt?
Hey Dylan, what's up, dude? Good to be back with you. How you doing?
Good, man. Good. Happy to watch some Super Bowl Sunday. I've actually been on the road working the past two Super Bowls, so it'll be nice to be home and actually watch the Super Bowl this year. What do you got going on for the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna be hanging out. Obviously, I'm a Bills fan, so I don't really care anymore. It's kind of just like I feel like it's a little blah to me right now, and it's like it's Brady again, so it's like super blah for me again. But it's still the Super Bowl, so it's fun.
How how does your heart ache right now when you think about the AFC Championship game?
Yeah, I mean it's not even really necessarily ache, it's more just disappointment because I don't think that we did what we were kind of like a shell of ourselves in that game. I thought, everything that I thought we should have done, we didn't do. And the way that they exposed us was completely different than the way we played them the first game. I mean, Kelsey and Hill had 30 yards receiving the first time we played them. Kelsey was at like 80. In this game, they both just went off. So it was a little offsetting to watch. The second half, I didn't even finish watching the whole second half. I was on the phone with my grandfather talking about our disappointment while he was kind of giving me a play-by-play rundown.
Are you a third generation Bills fan? I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, I mean that we're still ticking right now, yeah. But
Good
kind of
deal.
skipped my dad a little bit. I don't really know why. He's not a massive fan, but yeah,
Well, it seems like you make up for it in that area.
absolutely.
So we're gonna dive right into the Super Bowl. The first question I have for you: does Patrick Mahomes have what it takes to reach Brady's GOAT status? If so, why? If not, why?
Yeah, I know when you sent this to me, I really started thinking about this, and I was like, it's hard to say yes to this, even though Mahomes is really good, because Brady's just like he's proving to be this different level right now, and he's done it in different facets for a long time. Mahomes is having great success early, but I want to see if they can sustain it, because what Brady was really good at New England was he had that team always to where everybody was willing to take a little less to make sure that they could keep a quality team, right? Mahomes is getting paid a lot of money. Kelsey's going to command big money. Hill commands big money. So how long can they sustain the success when they have to start paying big dollars, right? And this defense is already a little questionable, even though they held us in check. But to me, that's going to be the only thing that wouldn't allow me to say that he's going to do it right now.
So you don't think Kansas City has the defense to stop Tampa Bay?
I hadn't believed in their defense at all, but they've now proved that when it comes to the playoffs, for some reason or another, somehow their defense wakes up, because they did it last week, even though, or 2 weeks ago, excuse me, they didn't. They still gave up a lot of yards. I mean, they're still doing those things, and if Tampa Bay does what they are good at, which is kind of running and getting that going and kind of moving that direction, I think Kansas City's defense could be in real trouble.
It sounds to me like and this might just be my opinion, but I haven't heard Tyrann Mathieu' name all year long until we got to the playoffs. It seems like, is that just me?
No, I mean that's if I was watching this team very closely, obviously, right? I was watching everything they were doing for the last 6, 7, 8 weeks of the season to see how they were trending and how we were trending, right? Because to me, that's important how you're coming into the tail end of the season. And they looked suspect. They were trickling through games, and they were, there was just the defense was worst in the NFL inside the red zone. So I mean, they weren't trending very well. So yeah, I agree. And then they just in the playoffs they showed up again, and they did this last year on their run too. The defense just kind of came out of nowhere, and I don't know if it's just the veteran leadership that they have over there that it magically just says, okay, now it's now or never, right? And then they give you everything they got. Maybe they were playing possum with everybody the whole second half of the season. I don't know, but yeah, their defense is always the concern. I don't think the concern ever is that going to be as can Mahomes put up points.
Yeah, against a very good Tampa Bay defense that has a lot of playmakers, especially on that defensive front. I don't know if Kansas City has the offensive line to hold that defensive front, to be honest with you.
It's going to be interesting because Tampa Bay is similar to Kansas City. They had the beginning of the season, they looked like they were going to be dynamite on defense, and then they really started to struggle defensively, right? And the offense was carrying them, which was fine because Brady was starting to win games, right? So, and as you're putting up points, your defense is going to give up more yards and your numbers are going to decline a little bit, but they weren't getting the pressure and all that. And now they appear to have awoken again, too, right? I mean, it's just like, it's, and I think it all falls back to, who is running your organization and all of that. It's just, and you've got Tom Brady in there. Like, I don't know if you saw the comments trickling around about how, like, there was guys like crying after winning the NFC championship or whatever. And Brady's like, F that. What are you crying for? We're not
We're
done
not
here.
done yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what? You don't even cry after winning the big one, dude, because you're going to come back and win another one. Right. That's how he approaches it. And so to me, this is bigger than just, the two quarterbacks on the field, right? These are long-time organizations that are capable of being successful. Tampa Bay kind of trickled into it because they were willing to pay, for this year, but we'll see.
The Super Bowl is always bigger than just a player or two players. I mean, these teams have worked so hard together to reach this, peak by getting to the Super Bowl. So you can't ever just hand the everything to Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. You have to talk about all of the playmakers they have around them and the defense that surrounds them also.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, and then especially this season, I mean, they just had the COVID trickle in again this week almost, right?
Yeah,
Right
absolutely
before the big
makes it
game,
even harder.
right? Which makes it so these teams have definitely gone through big things, and it doesn't look like it's going to necessarily change for the offseason for them, right? I don't know that the offseason's not going to be just as crazy. Hopefully it's all cleared up before the season, but I mean, the offseason I feel like is going to have to be similar. We're not out of this yet.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd hope to be soon, though, with all the vaccines that are coming in. So
Yeah.
let's pray that we can get past this COVID and get back to normal, where everybody can be at the Super Bowl.
Heck yeah.
So a couple of hypotheticals for you, if we can switch to the hypothetical section of today's conversation. What would winning back-to-back Super Bowls do for Mahomes in the GOAT conversation with Tom Brady?
Yeah, I mean, I think it still trickles a little bit back to I want to see it more than just 2 seasons, right? 3 seasons, but it's absolutely, especially for as much as the league loves him, is going to propel him very quickly to the possibility of getting that status, right? I don't think, and I think you'll find that probably most of like the players around the NFL that are now and doing the broadcasting and that kind of stuff will have tons of respect for it, but will feel that I got to see it more than 2 years. I mean, the Bills went to 4 consecutive Super Bowls, right? And had Hall of Fame quarterback type of careers, but they did it for 4 consecutive years and they had 10 years of winning. So Brady's got 17 years of winning, right? And he's potentially going to have a 7th Super Bowl. So, but absolutely, with Brady being out, you're losing Breeze potentially. You've lost Phillip Rivers. Your potential Aaron Rodgers is gone soon. Yeah, I mean, the kid is the guy that's going to get the next opportunity to get that status for sure.
Well, and it's nice for you because if there's anybody that even relates to Patrick Mahomes, I know it didn't show last week or a couple weeks ago, but if there's anybody that can relate or be in the same discussion with talent as far as Mahomes is concerned, is Josh Allen. So I bet you're excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, once again, it's we saw last year in the playoffs he looked sketchy, right? And then this year he came back and he was very good in 2 games, got to a big game and he looked a little sketchy, right? And so, but the past has shown us that if he gets another opportunity, he's going to be successful at that opportunity. So I do believe that he is absolutely capable of being everything that Patrick Mahomes is. Maybe not, some of the, yes, he is. He's absolutely capable of being Patrick Mahomes, right? He's in actually a bigger version of that, right? So he is good. He's great. I've heard lots of talk that we might see an offseason extension finally, which would be cool. Hit him a big deal over the summer. So I'm excited for our future for sure as well.
So how much do you pay a guy like that? I mean, we've seen these quarterback contracts be thrown around in the NFL, like Goff's and Wentz, and these guys play a couple of years and they just go to crap. Do you not see that happening with Josh Allen?
So that's my big concern, right? I mean, that's absolutely the concern, especially right now because we're in a situation where Matt Milano is a free agent. He's going to command decent money. He's a good linebacker, and we may not be able to pay him. We got Darrell Williams, who is going to potentially sign a good sized contract because he had a great year at right tackle for us. So there's major concern on what we do with this contract. I don't want to see a Mahomes length contract of 10 years. Like, I love Josh Allen and I hope he is the quarterback for 10 years, but I don't want to sign him to that. I think it's disrespectful to him and to the team to sign somebody that long term, especially the guy, because in 5 years, with the way the NFL is, his value could put him middle of the pack and he could still be the best quarterback in the league, but he could be getting paid at middle of the pack just because of progression, right? So I'm hoping Sports Track, if you follow anything they do, they say 40 million, right, is kind of going to be his number. I'm hoping that we somehow get this more into like the 35 range, because that allows for more movement and keeping quality players around you. And I hope that I think he's that kind of guy, and I hope he sees that, but I understand him if he wants to get paid, right? So I'm praying for a 30 number for sure over like a 5-year deal. And I'd rather just front end load him real heavy and just be like, we'll commit you big time right now. But yeah,
I think you're hoping and praying there, but I think he's a $40 million quarterback.
I think he's going to get it, and he's deserving of it. Right. And he's shown progression.
You could argue.
You could, but he's also been in the playoffs almost every season he's been in the league. Right. So he is part of what is taking place up there. And I think obviously if you take him away from what's taking place, you're not going to get the same result. So you do have to pay for that, especially when his time is coming up. You don't necessarily have to do it this offseason, but I like doing it this offseason because I think that also allows you to bring the number lower. Right. So if he comes out and you take his 5th-year option and then he goes out and performs at MVP level again, how do you not pay him 45 then? Probably because that's the new number.
Yeah. Yeah. And if anybody knows about quarterback contracts, it would be me, being a Rams fan, of course.
Yeah. Well,
let's slip back into the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Another hypothetical. We'll keep on that track. If Brady wins his 7th, is this a record that can be beaten?
Nah. I don't think so.
Not a chance?
I don't see it. I mean, your only candidate, I guess, Russell Wilson. I mean, how much longer is he going to play?
I mean,
you're going to have Mahomes, but
the guy's running out of fingers here.
He is, but he may just stick around long enough to get all of the fingers, right? Like he is that kind of guy, I think, right? So he's already pretty much said, right, like he's going to come back next year and he thinks they're going to be better next year, right? Because they're going to actually have time to play and gel together. So I don't see anybody else getting 7. The longevity in the NFL is so hard to maintain, to keep a team around you that is quality enough to constantly win. And Kansas City's doing it right now. So that's your next best chance right now. But you see that it typically, you don't win back-to-backs very often. So you're going to have to do this over a long period of time to get to 7, right? He's done it over a very long career.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, if there's anybody, in my opinion, that has a chance at tying that record or even getting close or breaking it, it's probably the quarterback that he's facing in this game.
Yeah, I mean, he's the only one young enough, really, that's going to now potentially have a second one already that could get there, right? With that all, how much longer is Andy Reid going to be around? Is that truly, is Mahomes going to be able to win without Reid? We're going to get to some points where that kind of stuff is going to come into the conversation. And that's where I feel like it's going to be difficult to get to 7.
Absolutely. I mean, it's almost an unrealistic number to even think about, but getting into Tom Brady, he's just an unrealistic quarterback the way he's played.
He is 43, right? So it has taken him time to get here.
Until he's 50, so
yeah. I mean, I'm just saying it's taken him time to get here, right?
Yeah.
And it's a tough task. This league is made for different teams to be there realistically, right? I mean, that's what you're hoping if you're the NFL, that it's each year it's 2 new teams are climbing to the top, right? And
I wish college football would take that approach.
Right.
Tired of seeing Alabama in the national championship game. I don't know about you. I figure at least 75%, at least 75% of the population is just absolutely exhausted with seeing Alabama in the national championship game.
Yeah, I don't even watch them anymore.
If I wasn't such a big college football fan, I wouldn't. But
Yeah.
I am just a giant college football fan, and I can't take my eyes away, to be honest with you. And that's probably why nobody cares to change any rules or anything, because they
Right.
know loyal college football fans will keep watching the game.
Well, and where the money is winning. So
Yeah.
there's no need to change it. Right.
Let's dive into the actual game, as we will ask you, Colt, to give us your 3 keys to this game. What are your 3 keys for Kansas City to win the Super Bowl?
For me, it's mostly Kansas City just needs to be Kansas City. I think we even did this when we played against Kansas City. Is there's you tend to find coaches that for some reason, when they're really good at coaching, they get into these big games and they decide to try to get like cute or do something a little bit different that they haven't done all season. And it just trickles you and you like trip or you come out a little slower than what you normally do when it doesn't work. And I feel like it just throws the rhythm off. So for me, the main thing for Kansas City is just do what you do, because you understand what you're going up against, right? This is a legend on the other side. This is the first time a team's playing in their stadium hosting the Super Bowl. I mean, you're going up against an epic giant on the other side of you. Don't change what you do, because it's only lost you 1 game all season, right? So don't get cute, right? And don't actually try to slow the pace, because I know that they're going to want to, kind of slow things down a little bit and try to not give Tom the ball like people tend to do against him. Just go, 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 because that's what you are very good at. And don't get focused on absolutely trying to be like, we have to run the ball. We have to run the ball. If Mahomes is feeling it and your quick little out throws or what's working, just do it. Don't change who you are in the spot, because we did it last week, 2 weeks ago, and I think that was detrimental to what we did. And Kansas City came right out and was just like, well, we're not going to change anything about what we do, even though you guys made us change what we did last time we played you. So no, we're just going to beat you with what we're good at.
Well, and if anybody's not going to change anything as far as a fast-paced spread offense, it's going to be Andy Reid, right?
Hopefully. I mean, I've seen this team get to the playoffs and start running like crazy, right? Because they think they're not going to expect it. So they're like, let's just run, 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 run. But this is also a defensive line that I don't think you can just decide that you want to start running all of a sudden, right? Because they're a very good defensive front. So you have to stick with what you've got here, and you've got to spread them, keep it wide, let your speed be your biggest weapon, right? You have to run around these defensive linemen and beat them to the edge.
Yeah. I'd like to add 1 key to the game for Kansas City. Don't give Tom Brady the ball with 2 minutes left.
Right.
And
don't do the obvious stuff. Yeah, don't do the obvious stuff. Isn't it annoying with him? It always feels like the team that gets the ball, no matter what time is left, they're going to find some way to make sure they give it back to him. Right? It always feels that way.
It's like 6 times.
Yeah, it's the most obvious thing to never do, yet it always happens.
Oh, and Matt LaFleur definitely learned his lesson, didn't he?
He sure did, right? And I think
Who kicks a field goal right there, Colt?
Well, we did some of the same stuff in the game too, where we were down there on 4th and 2s and we chose to kick field goals instead of going up and trying to knock out the champ, right? So, I mean, to me, that's like I was talking about. We changed who we were, and it cost us. So Kansas City, they're already going to be up against this major battle. Not to mention a good team that's trending very well right now, but the momentum, the legend. You're playing in their building. I mean, there's a lot, and there's going to be a lot of people there actually, because it's Florida, right? And it's going to be a lot of Tampa people, right? So it's going to be a challenge.
I did not think about that. It is Florida. They've got I don't remember what the number was, but they've got a lot of first care responders at the game.
Yeah, I want to say it was 7,500 or so of the 27 or 22,000, whatever it's going to be, are all first responders, or like EMTs, healthcare workers, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's very cool. But that might actually mix up some of I haven't heard if they're taking them all from the area or if they're going to like kind of bring in people, because it doesn't seem like you'd want to be bringing people in right during COVID. So if that's going to be 7,500 people from the area, they're all going to be Tampa fans, right? So
yeah, and I'm not the biggest fan of Roger Goodell. But I thought that was an awesome gesture for him to invite those folks to Super Bowl. That's a really cool deal for him to do that.
Yeah, I mean he tends to make some good choices here and there, but overall, yeah, this I'm ready for somebody new, but he's not a terrible guy, and this is definitely the league should be doing this kind of stuff every year. Right? I mean, there's no reason that the league can't be setting aside 7,500 tickets in a 70,000 seat stadium to bring in people that are grinding every day for, our society and everything. So I feel like this is stuff the league should be doing all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Since we're on the Tampa Bay fans section, let's get into our three keys for Tampa to win the Super Bowl.
I think it's Tom Brady, Tom Brady, Tom Brady. I mean, now so this is I feel like it's super simple because you should know that you can move the ball on Kansas City, right? So it's another scenario where you just let Tom go out and you go to work, right? Like you're good at running the football, run the football. See if they can stop you. Get your play action game going. You've got to get. I don't know how you necessarily do it for sure because you have Brown, you have Godwin, and you have Evans, but you have to try to find a way to get them moving and moving quickly because you don't want to lose one of them. You don't want to lose their enthusiasm or, their effort early in a game because I don't care if you got to throw every one of them a ball on the first drive. You should try to do that, right? There's a way that you could get in a play to get every one of them the ball and give them an opportunity to just get all of your stars moving in the right direction because if they do that, this is going to be a tough team to beat. I mean, he looks very good right now. He's got a lot of his he's very good at taking what the defense gives him, and Kansas City is going to give a lot. So just do what you do running the ball. Defensively, just don't get overwhelmed because they're going to give up points. They're going to get some big plays, but you truly against Kansas City have to turn into like that bend but don't break defense. If they get down there, you just got to keep them out of the end zone. You have to, at all costs, keep them out of the end zone because you don't want to get into the touchdown for touchdown battle, because then you could find yourself in a little bit of trouble. And lastly, it's the big play. Don't make them work. The Bills got beat up by the big play. When they get flying with the big plays and stuff, and they don't feel like they have to work to get down the field, it changes everything in their mentality and the way that they attack you. So as the Tampa defense, you cannot give up the big plays. It falls in line with bend, don't break, but you can't give up the big play that you've got to make them work, 7, 8, 9, 10 plays every time they're on the field to get points. Have to make them work.
Yeah, and just touching on the injury report, since we're here, we might as well. It's only a couple days before. Chiefs have Taco Charlton ruled out, which I feel like is a big blow to their pass rush. Demarcus Robinson is questionable, and Brashad Breeland at cornerback is also questionable. The concussion. Those are three, maybe not Demarcus Robinson, but Taco Charlton and Brashad Breeland are pretty good sized pieces to that Kansas City defense. I would pay close attention to that Brashad Breeland injury if I'm a Chiefs fan this week. Also touching on the Tampa Bay's injury report, OJ Howard obviously tore his Achilles. They will not have him for the Super Bowl. Antoine Winfield is questionable right now with an undisclosed injury. That would be a big blow to the Tampa Bay secondary.
Yeah, if they lose him, that's going to be that absolutely turns it into you have to just keep him in front of you at all costs, right? You're not going to want your backup being the guy that's trying to hold the field all the way. Like Winfield is a very good player, so that's a big loss. In Kansas City, I mean, anything you lose on the back end of Kansas City is major trouble for you as well. They just have too many pieces on the other side that they can hurt you with, that when you start losing your starters, not that guys in the NFL that are going to be coming in behind them can't play, but there's a reason the guy isn't lined up number one, and there's a guy that's number two on the depth chart, right? He's considered to be better than the other one. So that's a big loss for sure. And Brady in this game for me, it's if Kansas City does not get near him, this is going to be very, very troublesome for them. I mean, especially if their secondary is banged up and you're losing your pass rush. If you don't get near him, I mean, I think everybody knows the way that you beat Brady is you get to his feet. You don't let him, you don't let him get that step. You don't let him move up on you. And if you can't do that, it could be lights out, especially when he's got very good weapons. I did see like one of the, this brings me now actually to looking at, because I was looking at some of the prop stuff for the Super Bowl, and one of them was like, will they set the record for most points scored, like of 75 or something like that? And at first I was like, no. And then I started thinking about it and I was like, well, wait a second. This could be like a 40 to something game realistically, right? Like if things just start big plays, you know, things, it's supposed to be rainy too, right? Like this could be interesting. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it could go either way at that point. I don't think I would touch that prop if I'm somebody. I don't think I'd touch the yes on that, just because of the weather situation and the defense of Tampa Bay. And like you said, if Chris Jones decides he wants to show up and put some pressure on Tom Brady, this could be a low scoring game. I could see a 24-21 finish in this game easily.
No. I think the big thing for Jones is going to be not doing something stupid and getting himself kicked out of this game, because he should have been kicked out of the last game that he played in for his antics. So if things aren't going well, I hope he keeps his cool, because that would be really bad if they lost him too, because he is a great player. But yeah, this game is going to be very interesting. I still feel I'm still going to trend, even with the weather, that we're somehow going to get both of them into the 30s, or like a 31-28, 31-30, 34-31, something around there. I think they just score too well. They score too well. I know it's the Super Bowl and things, but if realistically, if each of them just, put up 14 points on each side, that's one touchdown apiece. I mean, that's not out of the realm of possibility, for them to each get one touchdown in each quarter, or 2 touchdowns within 4 minutes. The Chiefs did the other day against us, right? So this game could get wild.
Okay, since we've gone over the keys for both teams, give me your score prediction.
I'm going to stick with the 34-31 Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Tom Brady wins his 7th ring, huh?
Yeah, and I actually, it pains me to say it, but and it's also part of me because I don't want Mahomes to get it.
Because why do you not want Mahomes to get it?
Because I'm a little over the Mahomes stuff already.
So you're telling me that there's a lot of salt there.
There may be some salt. I'm not gonna lie that there might be some salt. I'm just.
I don't blame you. I mean, and with your pick, I know a lot of my listeners are gonna be hurling after they hear that you're picking Tampa Bay to win. My pick is also Tampa Bay to win this game. The line is 3.5 in favor of Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking the Tampa Bay money line.
Yeah. I would. Did you see? I forget his name now, but he dropped like $3.5 million on the Bucks.
On the Bucks, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're gonna drop $3.5 million, drop it on.
That's where you do it, right? Yeah.
Plus
3.5. Yeah, plus 3.5. Like, yeah. I mean, in the Super Bowl, I don't think we're gonna see Tom Brady get like blown out of the water. Like, unless the defense just absolutely doesn't show up, and still, even then, I don't think he's gonna get blown out of the water one way or another.
When's the last time Tom Brady got beat in a Super Bowl? Was it 2008 again?
That was a while ago.
Oh, no, he got beat by Philly. That's right.
Oh, yeah, Wentz.
Got beat by Philly, and that was a good game. I mean, any game that Tom Brady has lost in the Super Bowl, which is not very much, 3 times. No, 3 times.
3. Yep.
They've all been close games. It's not like he's gotten pummeled by the opposition ever.
Yeah, no, this team is not. I mean, if history does have anything, you may say that the best play could be the Chiefs in the first half, right? Because there has been times where the Patriots have definitely gotten whooped coming out of the gate, but they respond and come back and beat you, right? But yeah.
That's also a key to this game, I think, is important for people to pay attention to. Tampa Bay and Tom Brady especially, is a quarterback that finishes games.
Mm-hmm.
A finisher. And I don't know if Patrick Mahomes has necessarily shown us the ability to come back in a game and just finish a game off completely.
Right. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, he's definitely had comeback wins and he makes big plays in big moments, but I think it's definitely a little bit different. It's a big time. It feels more as a team comeback when Mahomes is doing it right now, compared to sometimes with Brady. It just feels like it's just Brady doing it by himself. right? He's doing everything. He's just when he's commanding it, it just feels different when he's commanding the field. I think right now than Mahomes is the only difference.
And I'm speaking of this season. Obviously, last season the Super Bowl win they had was a comeback win against the 49ers. But I was speaking of this season when they've gotten down. It just doesn't seem like Patrick Mahomes has enough juice in the tank to bring them back in the games in the big games that they've lost this year.
It's going to be important for them to get out front, I believe, for
Mm,
sure. Yeah,
I agree.
absolutely. Which is going to be a troublesome spot either way, right? You don't want to be down against Tampa Bay, but you also, when you're up, it could put you in a worse situation, right? So, one thing I was also looking at through the props that I thought was kind of interesting was because typically off the coin flip, teams defer, right? They want to defer, defer, defer. I have a feeling that whoever wins the coin toss in this game is going to send their quarterback out first because I think it's a statement, right? Today you don't say, "Let me see if my defense can stop you." No, I'm putting my guy on the field first. He's going to go down and score on you, and then we're going to stop you, right? Like if I can see Tom Brady being like, if we win the coin toss, I want the ball first. I want to be on the field first, right?
And Andy
And I
Reid
could
would say
see
the
Andy
same
Reid
thing.
doing the same thing, right? And the number, I forget what it was, the odds of the Chiefs doing it were like way out. Like, so Reid, I guess typically he must defer. But to me, it feels like this game, if I'm these coaches, that's how I'm approaching it. I want my guy on the field first.
Yeah. So we got Colt taking the 3.5 and taking Tampa Bay to win this game. We have me taking Tampa Bay in the money line. Seems like it's pretty unanimous for Tampa Bay to win this Super Bowl in our picks. While I got you on the show, Colt, let's run through the big news of this last week.
Yeah.
Jared Goff gets traded to the Lions along with 2 first-round picks and a third-round pick for Matt Stafford. Your thoughts?
Well, how are you doing? What are my thoughts?
You know what? And this is probably a better question for me to answer, being a Rams faithful. I'm just happy to have the salary off our backs. And I saw a tweet the other day that put it in a great way to explain why we gave away so much. So we gave away Goff, a first rounder for Stafford, and then you gave away a first rounder and a third rounder for Goff's salary. Does that sound like a good explanation?
Yeah, I mean that's a good way to kind of look at it. I guess it's an interesting move.
I know it's a lot of picks, and we're not. I mean, we're not going to have a first round pick from 2018 all the way to 2025. It's 7 years without a first round pick, and that really shows you what Les Snead, our GM, thinks of first round picks. He would rather trade them for talent that is current. You know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you saw the Bills do it last year, right? We gave up our first round pick for Stephon Diggs, right? But that was one pick we gave up. I'm this to me is it's a win. I call it a win-win, right? And not even necessarily talking about the salaries and the picks and that kind of stuff for the guys individually. It's a win-win. Goff needed a new start. McVay was not going to be. McVay wasn't on board. You could feel it, right? It was just like you could tell he wasn't 100% behind Goff. And we saw this with Ryan Tannehill. When your coach and stuff is not behind you, it's hard to go out there and really want to be there and be good and be productive. And so I think it's going to be good for Goff to have a new situation. I don't like the head coach he's going to. So that part I think he's going to find to be completely different,
You don't want
going
to bite
from,
some kneecaps off.
yeah, I mean, like he wants to, I guess Goff's going to be like bench pressing a lot more or something. And man, I don't know necessarily what they're trying to accomplish up there in Detroit with that move. I mean, Dan, he was the interim coach in Miami for a little bit there, and he had that team moving and they were rallying, but he's limited, I think. I don't know, but so I think it's going to be a good move for Goff, and he might even have a Tannehill resurgence, but I don't think he's going to have the team over there. He's got good pieces around him as far as running back and wide receivers and tight ends, so he is going to have good pieces to continue to play with. And I think for Stafford, it's time, right? It was time for Detroit to move on to try something different. It hasn't been successful, and I'm not going to say that it's Stafford's fault because he's a good quarterback, but that organization has just had trouble, right? And we went through the same thing. Until you find the coach, It's very difficult. I know a lot of people say it's the quarterback, the quarterback. Yes, you have to have a quarterback. But if you look around the league right now, it's a quarterback and coach. It's not just a quarterback, right? It's look at Baker Mayfield was not playing well. He gets a new coach. Cleveland starts playing well, right? Look at LaFleur with Aaron Rodgers. He starts playing well. His numbers go back up with a new coach. You just see Frank Reich goes to the Colts, their numbers excel. He goes to the Chargers. There's just good positive things happening. And so I think it's a good move for both guys. Long term for the Rams, God, I hope you win a Super Bowl real soon, because if you don't, I feel like in a couple of years you might be looking at like a 1-15 season when you got no money, and you're probably firing McVay because this doesn't work or something along those lines, right? And it's a big change, because to me, when McVay makes this move, he's saying that he's better than everybody in the room. And if you're going to say that you're better than everybody in the room, you better win. And he's been winning, right? He's had good, productive seasons, but you did also just give up a quarterback that has better winning seasons than the one you got.
Yeah. And I agree with you. If this doesn't work out, this is kind of Les Snead's last hurrah to win a Super Bowl. I feel like if Stafford doesn't come along, and not that I don't think Stafford will play good, because I think he fits well in the system. He's a great out of pocket passer. But if this doesn't work out, this is Les Snead's last hurrah. I mean, he's done after this. If we don't win a Super Bowl, he's out the door. I don't know about McVay. I think the Rams organization as a whole really loves McVay. So I don't know if he would necessarily get fired. I think they would take it out on the GM and Les Snead. But we'll see when that happens. I just wanted to touch base on the news from last week. That was a pretty big blockbuster trade.
Yeah, it's huge. That's franchise changing stuff that just took place, right? That's a lot of picks. That's you're now saying that you're gonna potentially have Stafford for what, 3 to 4 years is probably going to be his window, maybe
2 years is his contract.
Right, at this current one, he's got 2 left. So you've got at minimum you just keep him on his 2 years, I guess, and you see how it goes, right? You've still got quality pieces. Woods is great. I wish he would come back to Buffalo. He's a great wide receiver. So there's still good pieces over there, and you need to, I think, definitely have a quarterback that can make the throws over there, because the division's going to be challenging every year, from here on out for a while. Especially if San Fran can get their quarterback figured out, it's going to be a challenge for a little while over there. So I think I don't know if I like the move per se necessarily, but I think that the system will work a little better for Stafford. His fresh start, he'll probably excel, and it'll be a good fit all around.
And I completely understand people not liking the move. It's very understandable. I just, as a Rams fan, have to hope and pray that it works out.
Right, absolutely.
But let's dive. This is a gambling podcast, of course. Let's dive into your 3 NBA picks on this NBA Friday. If you wouldn't mind giving me your picks, Colt.
Yep. So I went ahead and I'm going to take Detroit plus the points. It looks like we had about 8 this morning when I was looking at it. I'm going to go with Boston plus 6, 6.5, whatever the number is at right now. And I'm going to go with the Pelicans plus the 2, 2.5, whatever you can get them at right now.
And I like your explanation on why you chose these picks. Do you want to share why you choose these picks exactly?
Yeah, I definitely have to be straightforward and honest when I put these picks out there. I do really no watching of basketball. I watch college basketball. I watch very little NBA basketball. I follow numbers, and I do some program type of stuff. I'm a bit of a nerd, so I just do more numbers. So one of the picks is I just am following the money. I like to look and see percentages of the bet count to the number of money put on each side, the percentage of money put to each side, and look for discrepancies there. There's also these other little systems that I mess around with that. One's like road teams coming off, and against the spread loss. So that's where the Boston pick comes into play. So just chasing the money a little bit. And, I don't necessarily have the time to do all the necessary research I think it takes to be really good at this. So I tend to just believe in the people that are doing it. And I look and watch the numbers, and, I tend to find my percentage and then dive into the game and see if I can convince myself to believe it. if I can convince myself to believe that that's the side I should take, then that's the way I go.
And there's a reason I drink a whole pot of coffee a day and get up early in the morning to do my research.
Yeah, I mean, it's no small task getting up and trying to figure all this out, especially with games like the NBA, because you'll get this line in the morning and you want to try to get out in front of the line, and then in the afternoon you find out two guys aren't playing, and it's like, well, that's garbage because now this is way out of whack, right? I would not have made the same bet if I knew these two guys weren't playing. So it's a challenge with the NBA, but that's why I like just I watch the numbers. I've gone different routes too, where I'll try to hit it real early, and then I've gone just, well, I wait till the very end, and I just really track the money all the way to the end before I take my side.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, I'm going to run through our 3 picks from yesterday's podcast that we discussed. We had Ohio State at Iowa last night. It was a really big Big Ten game. We had Warriors at Mavs and Jazz at Hawks. Ohio State covered the line that we took on them and actually beat Iowa in Iowa City. So we won that bet. If you guys follow the show, Warriors at Mavs last night, we took Warriors +4 against a short-handed Mavs team that wasn't shooting the ball well, and that was the case last night. The Warriors just absolutely destroyed them by 20-plus points. So we won that one. And Jazz at Hawks, we took Jazz -7.5 against Atlanta, a team that was playing their 3rd game in 4 days. We figured they would be tired, lackadaisical. To add to it, Trae Young did not play in the game last night. Some late news coming in. So we are very thankful that we took the Jazz 7.5 because the Jazz played that and won by double digits. But those were our 3 picks of the day. We went 3 for 3. We have had a 60% week this week, which is very good for the Degenerate Dillon show. Sorry about that, Colt. I just wanted to touch base on our picks from last night.
This is your show, dude. You don't apologize to me. I'm here for the ride.
I just wanted to touch base with everybody.
Absolutely. You got to celebrate wins.
Yeah.
This is a difficult sport you're in.
Parlay of those 3 and covered right there. So
yeah, isn't it annoying to I always see on the FanDuel ads where it's like, dude, hits like a $5 parlay for like 90 some odd thousand. It's like, yeah, whatever.
Some of those parlays are like hitting the lottery almost. I mean,
yeah, it's like, that's insane. Like, obviously you want to hit one, but it's like you can spend all day. I mean, typically if you really talk to people that do this, they tell you parlays like a fool's game, right? Like it's, but
you should bet single games.
Yeah, you should bet single games. You don't parlay. I mean, the odds of you hitting all of them is very difficult, right? So, you at least want to just single game them. So if you go 5-1, you're up. You 3-2, you're up. I don't know.
Well, we certainly appreciate you coming on the show, Colt. If you want to, I'll give you this time to share with my listeners what you got going on.
Yeah, you guys might know me from over there at Built in Buffalo, with Dave Myers and Akeem Richens. So starting today, actually, I'm going to be launching another new show called The Buffalo Nerd. We're going to be talking Bills, charity, NFL. I'm going to be hoping to bring on some cool guests. Dillon will be coming on with me at some point, I'm sure. Just trying to change things up a little bit, like chatting with people, meeting new people. So it's going to be fun. You guys can check it out. Should all be up and live today. At some point, so I appreciate that. And what are the picks for today, Dillon? Do we not get those? Or
you know what? I'll go ahead and take the opposite in your picks in every single game. I'm going to take Phoenix -8 in Phoenix against Detroit. I'm going to take the Clippers to cover 6.5 against the Celtics in LA, and I'm going to take Indianapolis to cover 2 against the Pelicans. How does that feel?
Sounds great. Because I've been looking back through, and I can tell you right now that the Suns right now, percentage-wise, would flip-flop my pick. So based on if I went back and looked at that's why I told you, that I've kind of been messing with doing it in the morning and then in the afternoon, because right now I would show that the Suns are only getting 33% of the ticket count, but 64% of the money. Which that to me is something I would typically follow, because to me, that's when you've got that big of a discrepancy, there's somebody that knows something or does this professionally that's put down a good chunk of money on that side that's making things trickle that way, right? It doesn't just happen. It's not typically public money that's going to swing something that large. because
Yeah.
public folks don't have the kind of money to necessarily swing a line, right? I mean, they can if like everybody and their brother does it, but it's still not going to get the respect of somebody that's what they do and they drop a big old chunk of change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless the number's way off and they're just cool with it.
Yeah. Well,
But
we're really cool with you, Cole. We're really cool with you coming on the show. We appreciate you getting on here and talking the Super Bowl with us. Let's hope for your sake we don't see Patrick Mahomes win his second Super Bowl. And
I know it's bad that I'm almost hoping for that because it means that I have to accept Tom Brady winning another one. But
for our sakes and for my wallet's sake, let's hope that Tom Brady wins his 7th Super Bowl. But that
absolutely.
is it for us, folks, on this episode of Degenerate Dillon podcast. Thank you, Colt Schroeder, for coming on the show. Catch us tomorrow on a special Saturday episode with Jackson Collier as he comes in and we talk about the slate of Saturday college basketball games tomorrow afternoon. Appreciate it, Colt.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you.